Alright, time for another DraftPhysics.com, debatephysics.com also, video presentation. To who, who's listening? You really can't, again, you can't pay for the interaction. You can't get a physicist to be accountable for the nonsense physics produces as theory. And, the more you watch these how high profile physicists, the Brian Greens and the rest of them, I mean, the absolute nonsense they talk as if it's some sort of reality. It's just amazing bullshit. And the fact that you people think this is what science should be doing, that's good science, is just make up preposterous crap and just hype it. That's good science. No, it's really bad. But anyway, so let's do comments. What the hell? Appreciate work you are doing, and yes, you need to explain water level means I don't know, Merco scales to scientists and interested parties. What the fuck are you talking about? You are so good making it understandable. So obviously English not first language. But I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So, I mean, this is the sad part is, anybody who's a dissident against the establishment, unfortunately, is crazy. So, it just makes my job so much harder because, yeah, it's really profiling dissidents as loonies is not unreasonable. So many of them just believe some crazy fable, some totem pole crap. Ugh. So this fresh rock papa, he's got a girl for an icon, so whatever that means. Some flat Earth debunker friend of, he's got some kind of crap in a playlist. Flat Earth videos. So he's opposing the flat Earth, but their own flat theory they have no interest in defending. So he says, a lever has nothing to do with balancing energies. So it's just amazing. I mean, it really is just creating angular momentum. It's motion of atoms that you're creating. It's essential to the whole function of the device. And the force of gravity is what is the balancing force. And so it's so pertinent. You can't be more pertinent to the subject. Energies on each side, when of course that's what it's doing. Okay, Jesus, this is all complete nonsense. No, you're just a complete asshole. You're just talking shit. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're just making these arguments because you're a silly Muslim. Okay, besides, if you honestly think this explanation is convincing, why don't you go to a college and show your work? So there's lots of reasons why I wouldn't go to a college. First, I'm not rude. And obviously we have the internet, we have all of this technology. Nobody has to go anywhere. I mean, it's just absolute nonsense. And the fact is we did get a physics professor, a teaching professor, whatever, some kind of almost professor, whatever, a doctorate, okay, in physics. And we had him as part of the conversation, and he bailed out, okay. So, what, not my fault. Okay, impressing every student physics teacher with your argument. I don't mean to impress anybody. I mean to have the argument. So you're saying that they've made a counter argument somewhere. I say you have no evidence it takes 25 times the fuel to spin anything in the universe. Nothing takes 25 times the fuel to spin. So you show me an example, and then you win the argument. You don't show me an example, then I've made a good argument, and your theory fails. But you can't produce evidence of it. Okay, they've never even measured 4 pounds dropped 1 foot versus 1 pound dropped 4 feet. You think those two things are equal, as pointed out in the very video you're nonsensing on. A tool thousands of years old that balances things. It's called a balance because it balances things. It says that isn't true. And what's your response? Gibberish. Okay. You honestly thought physics had been broken for hundreds of years, and it's so obvious to see. Well, obviously it was. I'm so arguing it wasn't broken. Newton knew what it was. Galileo understood it, and Descartes understood it, and then you turned it into shit. People like you. Bandwagon bullshitters who don't understand physics at all. You fell for a stupid denting clay experiment. I could roll something on a table, and you're going to tell me you don't understand that the faster it rolls, the less pressure it's going to experience per inch on the surface? That gravity can't make more than the 9.8 on anything. And if I point it, then all the energy goes in one little place, and if I spread it out, then it's over a whole giant area. You can't figure things like that out. And you're going to preach what science is? Amazing. All right. And so, obvious to see, but nobody has realized until you did it. So nothing's obvious about it. There's no evidence of it. You can't ever collect this energy. It never does any work. It never knocks down twice as many pins. It never pushes the water wheel. It doesn't do a damn thing. And you're telling me it's obvious. I mean, you can't see how obviously stupid you are and how obviously you're completely a dupe and an idiot because you're preaching something that you have no evidence for, that you're just a flat earther. You're taking an idiotic theory that all the evidence points to it can't be true, and you're sitting there saying it's true. Fucking idiot. Oh, God, they're just so stupid. Your pipe diameter argument is extremely easy to debunk. I don't think so. Anyway, making the diameter of the pipe 1/2 of its original size doesn't make the speed of the flow of the water 2x faster. Well, I'm saying it does. I've done enough dam building and streams and whatnot to understand the concept. And yeah, it's not going to be perfect. You create some eddies, there's some friction, blah, blah, blah. You lose a little bit of the energy, but generally speaking, it works. And certainly the hose example is perfect enough. All right, narrowing a pipe, increasing the pressure of the system does that. No, you don't have to increase the pressure. You're obviously using the same amount of pressure, and that's the whole argument, that you can't make the sum of it go faster, create more kinetic energy, and pretend there's more energy, because there isn't. You have fewer bits going faster. Fewer bits going faster is the same as more bits going slower, and you keep denying that simple truth. If you just make the pipe smaller, the water won't be moving through any faster. Yes, it will. So again, fuck you. You're just saying shit that's not true. The pressure before the narrow part is increased, which requires energy. So it really doesn't. So that's just wrong. You can funnel it, and it's a real concept. Okay, you get 4x more kinetic energy because it's twice the speed and requires twice the pressure. So again, it's just absolute nonsense, but fine. The system doesn't have any more pressure in it, okay? So in the case of streams, it's gravity. It can't make more pressure. All you can do is change how much water flows, and if you have half the volume at twice the speed, well, then the same amount of water is going across a given point. Don't believe me? Yes, of course I don't believe you. Okay, take a plastic bag of water and dump the water out of it once you just putting it upside down, and once by making a hole in the bottom of it. Does that make the same time to empty in both cases? No, it doesn't. But that's not the point being made. The point is that yes, there's some. It's not like a lot of tools. It's not a perfect tool. That doesn't change the fact that in the end, the fact is you are creating more kinetic energy. So the water that you are releasing has more kinetic energy. Pressure of the bag full of water is the same in both cases. The decrease in pressure in water spilling out of the bag is the same too. Depends on 100% amount of water left in the bag. So again, we're not talking about pinholes, because pinholes have a whole bunch of this waste that happens trying to get the water through the tiny hole. So if you make the hole bigger, you will see the water stream out, and it will have a lot of velocity. So blah, blah, blah. After all, according to your calculations, by simply making a pipe 1/2 the size, you increase the speed by 2. So you either get one amount of water every second with a wide pipe, or 1/2 the amount of water in 1/2 a second. Yes, exactly. It's the same amount of water, and all you've done is change the velocity of the water. Right? So I'm just saying it's the same momentum. Oh, geez, there's just no talking to these people. You get 4x the power out at the end of the pipe. You have put in more power at the start of the pipe. Otherwise, the speed and flow won't be 2x the original speed. So we know if I have 60 pounds of pressure in a water hose, it's not going to make any difference. And I just change the nozzle, and I obviously accelerate the product, and the product will have a lot more kinetic energy. So again, you're pretending, this is just bullshit to sit there and say, okay, you don't even accept the concept that you can make more kinetic energy this way. Well, of course you can make more kinetic energy. But anyway, there's no point in arguing with some people, and this is obviously a person there's no point in arguing with. No one does the thing that you propose with the windmills and water mills, because narrowing the stream doesn't increase the pressure of the water in the river. Again, you keep talking about the pressure is irrelevant. We're talking about, does it or does it not create more kinetic energy? And the fact is that you have less particles moving faster, and the fact is it will be more kinetic energy. Now maybe it won't be exactly 2 to 1 and maybe exactly 3 to 1, but it will be an increase in the kinetic energy. So you keep doing it. Easy proof that rotation speed of energy is not 1 to 1. Easy proof that the rotation speed to energy is not 1 to 1. So there's not going to be any proof of the fact that I don't know what 1 to 1 exactly means. But this gets to angular momentum, which is just regular momentum. If you have a catapult that uses rubber bands to store the energy for the chute, the rubber bands are connected to a wooden beam and to the catapult arm. Before every shot, the catapult arm is lowered, to the special looking mechanism that's always located in the same place relative to the wooden beam. So no matter how many rubber bands you use for the catapult, they are always stretched to the same length. Yeah, so what? According to your logic, one band should accelerate the projectile to a speed of 1, while 2 bands should accelerate the projectile to a speed of 2, and so on. But that is not how it works in reality. Well, where did you show that? Where did you show that parallel rubber bands don't produce twice the force? And that 3 rubber bands is 3 times the force, and 4 rubber bands is 4 times. Where did you prove that? Where did you show that doesn't work? I mean, that's like springs, Yeah, it does, 2 compressed springs produce twice the force of 1 compressed spring. Let's see, I just have to think about the parallel versus in series. So in series, I don't know whether, it's got to be. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, I'm not talking about catapults in any of these examples in terms of whether you make one out of a single rubber band or multiple rubber bands. And the argument is still the same, that the fact is the catapult is violating Newton's third law, so why would Newton write a third law that gets violated by the catapult? All right, not entirely sure what you're trying to debunk when you have a constant flow of pressure increase due to restriction. Imagine the water hose and you put your thumb over the end of it. The hose doesn't start pumping harder, but the pressure still increases because the hose is pumping the same volume of water. Well, I don't know if the pressure actually does increase, but whatever. Of the hose, even though it's been slightly restricted. It's just that the pieces that have to do the moving, the point is when you're not allowing the pressure out, all of the atoms are just being squished. And so when you let the pressure out, if you let fewer atoms do the carrying of the pressure, the fewer atoms will go further because you have more pressure available. And the more atoms you try to push, the less pressure is available to push the atoms. So that makes the difference. But thank you for whatever you did. Yeah, thanks for doing it. Okay, water pump is designed to pump a certain amount of water a second at a certain force. If the force needed to pump the water through the hose is lower than the force the pump can produce, then it will increase the pressure enough to... So again, all of these arguments are moot in the sense that clearly you can make a system with diaphragms and different mechanisms to have a constant pressure. So it's just sort of bullshit. But the force needed is greater than the output of the pipe, and the pipe stops pumping completely. So we know in systems like water to houses, it's got dampening in it. So the pressure is really always the same because it's got so much dampening in the system. It's got so many reservoirs. What you said is what you said as is as retarded as saying shit like, oh, when you buy a chicken, whatever this is, when you buy all the chicken tendies, I don't know what that is, from the store and visit the store the next day, the chicken tendies are back on the shelf. It must be due to some law of physics. No, it's the idea there's a stock room, and the stock room just keeps pushing them out. So again, you could just make the argument that in systems where the system, the pump, pumping the pressure into the water, can't know that you opened or closed your valve, right? That's not going to be relevant. So it's not going to speed up just for you. So it's a bullshit argument. But that's all he has is bullshit arguments for a bullshit cause. All of this nonsense to defend a theory that says it takes 25 times the fuel to make something move 5 times as fast. It's silly, it's ludicrous, and it doesn't happen, of course. And even in the simpler case, where they say, you know, crash a car at 100 miles an hour, and I should expect it to make 4 times the damage, and it clearly only makes 2. And so what are you defending? Okay. Can you finally describe what's wrong, what the wrong theory is from the beginning to the end? I mean, this is almost like, you know, it's on I'm talking about trolls, and you're basically just trolling me. The whole website is covered with it. The whole website is covered with these subjects and why they're wrong, and goes into great detail talking about the history of the nonsense, the silly experiments they use to defend it, the unproven axioms. I mean, fuck you. And what your arguments against it are also from the beginning to the end, question mark. I mean, it's just insane. So you didn't bother even looking at the website, right? Couldn't even be bothered. But I mean, even just looking at the fact that I have thousands of videos, you think some of them don't go from the beginning to the end? I just amazing. I'm so fucking tired of trying to find in your videos what is it that you are arguing with in the first place. Then you're too fucking retarded for words. I couldn't have itemized it more, right? Debate. Go to the debate website. They're 5 fucking minute videos right there in front of your face explaining all the experiments that indicate this is a bullshit theory. All of the evidence against it. In 5 minute fucking videos, and you can't be bothered. I just, you know. I.e., write what you are arguing down and copy and paste it into the video description. No, I'm not doing that for you, okay? I mean, I make videos on the internet. I would think other people can have conversation. If they can't have conversation, they can't draw pictures, I really don't want to interact with them. All right, you people who want to do all this fucking reading of text and think that's a good way to convey physics ideas. No, I'm saying no, the lecture is a really good idea. Having the blackboard and writing it and diagramming it, that's the much better fucking idea. And until one of you fucktards can do that, we really can't have a conversation about anything because you keep changing the motherfucking subject. All right. It is complete bullshit that a new viewer has to watch every single video. So, of course, they don't have to. I announce the websites before every fucking video. If you're not going to pay any attention to even that, okay, then what? Don't tell me you can't find something. And I just pointed out that I put the link in the very video you're trashing that I'm writing the paper. It's in the process. I mean, I'm linking to all these. I've made these videos as simple as it could be. Argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, argument 4, argument 5. I can't make it much simpler for you, retard. Oh, this is such troll bullshit. Okay. Let's see. Every single video, the topic to debate is. Okay, so you're just blockable. I mean, this is just nonsense. Fuck off. Alright, let's break the elastic collision into 2 parts. Fuck you. Lighter objects hits heavier object and it stopped for a moment before bouncing back. So, and what is it waiting for? Right? It stops because it's going to stop anyway. Okay? And the point is what's going to happen? Either the other object leaves, or the other object throws a reflection back. And that's exactly what you see. That it just throws a reflection back if it's heavier. And the reflection gets bigger and bigger as you make the object it's hitting heavier and heavier. So if I make it a brick wall, I'm going to get 100% back, ideally. Okay, and if I make it an object that's just 1 ounce heavier or 1 gram heavier, then I'll get a little tiny bit back, and the other object will move at a little less than the speed I started with. According to Newton's third law, the heavy object must gain the amount of motion that the lighter object lost. I don't know if that's really Newton's third law. I mean, this is more of a second law kind of mush, but how you proportion the amount of energy. But I wouldn't agree with any notion that it's like the case of the 3, the 150 momentum hits the little ball that comes in with 50, right? Well, that doesn't really happen, right? So I should say 75 and 25. And then all of the energy goes out in one direction. So how do you apportion 25 and 75, right? 25 coming in this way, 75 comes in this way, and you end up with 100 coming out one way. I don't think that'll be consistent with Newton's third law. I don't think the third law is about these kind of collisions. It's about explosions. All right, anyway, lighter objects bounce back in the same amount of motion. According to Newton's third law, the heavier objects must gain an equal amount of motion in the opposite direction. So obviously, we know that doesn't happen. So I'm just saying we know that pendulum experiment's been done, and it's just kind of, 75, 25, and you get 100 out. That's it. All right, now we have created what you call free momentum. This is what Newton believed in. So again, it's just a lie. So I'm not going to, I guess I'm just going to block it and I'm not going to read anymore. So I'm just saying anybody who says that Newton believed in this shit is lying. Okay, we know that de Châtelet made a whole career out of this dispute between Leibniz and Newton. That this was a real controversy. It wasn't a fake controversy. Newton didn't believe in the living force. Okay, his surrogates argued against it. Okay, they brought up subjects like the lever. They said it's inconsistent with the evidence. They did all of that, and so this is just a lie, and I'm just not going to play anymore. I mean, it's just bullshit. I'm not going to redo all those videos. I'm not going to reread all of that text that proves this is a real controversy, and it's just a lie to say Newton was a Leibnizian, because he wasn't. Why the fuck would he even use the concept of quantity of motion? And, why would it just be quantity of motion? So again, unless you can find somewhere in Newton's text where he says mv squared, what, you don't think he was smart enough to write mv squared instead of writing momentum? So why wouldn't he put the squared function in anything? Why wouldn't he show you some evidence he believed in it? I mean, fuck you. It's just a waste of time. I mean, this is just trolly shit to have to re-argue that. I don't even care, fuckers. All right, you want to believe Newton believed in mv squared? Just answer my fucking question. Do you actually believe it takes 25 fucking times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast? Are you really that fucking stupid, that flat earth stupid, that much in denial, that much of a lying sack of goddamn motherfucking shit? That's all you need to do. Just tell me how big a fucking liar you are. And tell me you actually believe that. Nobody could type all this bullshit text, okay, and actually believe it takes 25 times the fuel to spin a motor 5 times as fast. Dude, it's impossible for you to be able to type all of this text and be that goddamn stupid. So you just admit you're a hypocritical, duplicitous, lying sack of shit defending nonsense because you know it's not goddamn true. If it doesn't take 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast, it's obvious mv squared is nonsense. It isn't fucking true. That's the obvious answer. And it explains exactly why the ballistic pendulum can't collect any of this fucking kinetic energy, and explains why the 5-ton car turned into a 10-ton car doesn't in any way lose any fucking goddamn energy. They are both equally energetic. So, yeah, fuck this. This is just too stupid. I guess I ought to just stick with the 1 point. Just say you either agree it takes 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast, or you're rational and you concede that mv squared is crap. Because the fact is it doesn't. And the theory says it must. Oh, I just hate this planet. Fuckers. Alright. Enough. Okay. That's enough. Fuck this. It's just too stupid. I mean, it's just an argument with liars. So, begin your comment by saying, yes, I'm as dumb as a flat earther, and I believe something as nonsensically silly as that it actually does take 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast. Yes, I believe that nonsense. So start your comment with that sentence, declaring yourself a complete imbecile, and then make your argument.